What if the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever desired is the way you think? Not your circumstances, not your past, not even your limitations, but the silent agreement you've made with the world to think like everyone else, to follow the crowd, to walk a path that was never yours to begin with. You were never meant to blend in with the noise of the 95%, and yet, somewhere along the way, you started to echo their doubts, their fears, their beliefs about what's realistic and what's possible. The truth? Manifestation doesn't fail you. It mirrors you. It reflects the mental patterns you've inherited from a world that forgot its own power. To manifest a life that is extraordinary, you must stop thinking like those who settle for the ordinary. That is the price. Not effort, not time, but a change in thought, so radical, so sovereign, it cuts you loose from the herd and places you in the realm of creators. Until that shift happens, you can speak affirmations and visualize all you want, but reality will still bend toward your old identity. Most people live as ships without rudders, drifting on the waves of culture, opinion, and expectation. They move through life, hoping luck will deliver them to the harbor of their dreams, unaware that the tide they follow is one of unconscious resignation. They believe that life happens to them, not through them. Their thoughts are not their own. They are inherited, recycled, passed down like heirlooms of limitation. And the tragedy? They never pause to question the direction of the current they're caught in. They listen to the noise, the advice from those who've never created anything remarkable, the fears of those who settled, the silent agreement among the masses that it's better to be safe than sovereign. And so, they walk well-worn paths, paved with mediocrity, believing they're doing the right thing because everyone else is doing it too. But the road with the heaviest traffic is often the road that leads nowhere. It is lined with hesitation, paved with doubt, and leads only to more of the same. True manifestation begins with separation, not separation from people, but from collective thought patterns. The moment you step out of agreement with the crowd's limitations, you reclaim authorship of your reality. You begin to think with intention, not imitation. And that single decision, to think differently, is what separates the 5% who manifest from the 95% who wait. Not because they're more gifted, but because they stopped seeking approval and started seeking alignment. The collective mind of the 95% is reactive, not creative. It sees problems and stops. It sees obstacles and turns back. But your mind, when trained, sees problems as invitations and obstacles as markers for growth. You're not here to react like them. You're here to respond like a creator, to hold a higher vision when others are lost in appearances, to walk your path not because it's crowded, but because it's true. The herd may offer comfort, but it never offers mastery. Leaving the crowd mentally is not a rejection of others. It is a return to yourself. It's not arrogance, but awareness. You are not better. You are simply awake. And awakening is a lonely road at first, but it leads to a life few will ever taste. A life built not on conformity, but on consciousness. Not on noise, but on knowing. The moment you choose to stop thinking like them, you begin to remember what you've always known deep down. You were never here to follow. You were here to lead. Once you stop thinking like the crowd, a quiet space opens within you, space for decision. Not the kind of decision most people make, the half-hearted kind made out of pressure or fear, but a soul-deep choice, a sacred declaration. You begin to realize that freedom isn't just escape from limitation, it's clarity of direction. And until you decide what you truly want, you'll always be vulnerable to what others suggest, expect, or project. You can't manifest from confusion. Confusion dilutes energy. Clarity concentrates it. Most people avoid decisions because they fear the responsibility that follows. Choosing means commitment. It means becoming someone new, someone whose actions now must match the vision. That frightens the 95% because it requires death. The death of old stories, old habits, old excuses. But the moment you decide, fully and without apology, life rearranges itself. The current begins to shift. The unseen begins to respond. And the world you thought was fixed begins to bend toward your intention. You do not need to know how it will happen. That's the mistake of the logical mind. All you need to know is what you are becoming, and commit to becoming it. That's devotion, not desperate action, not constant effort. Devotion is alignment in motion. It's showing up every day with your attention anchored to the vision, not the noise. And when devotion becomes your frequency, manifestation becomes your nature. You no longer chase outcomes, you magnetize them. This kind of devotion is rare because it requires a break from the fragmented focus that defines the world. But once you decide and devote, you tap into something most never taste, momentum fueled by meaning. You move with a different rhythm. Your actions carry weight, your energy sharpens, and the universe, once quiet, begins to echo your clarity. That is when manifestation begins, not when you want something, but when you become someone. When devotion anchors you, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Your focus sharpens, but it doesn't just turn inward, it reaches outward. You begin to feel the thread that connects you to others. Manifestation is not a solitary pursuit. It's not about pulling blessings from thin air just for yourself. It's a relationship with the field, a conversation between your energy and the energy of the world. And in that conversation, there is a law that cannot be bypassed. Your rewards will always be in proportion to your service. The average mind competes. It fights for space, for attention, for scraps of validation. It believes in lack. It believes the pie is limited and that to win, someone else must lose. That thinking belongs to the 95%, and it leads to short-lived success, if any. But the creator's mind doesn't compete. It creates. It gives without fear. It serves without manipulation. It trusts that the energy poured into others is not lost. It is multiplied, returned, echoed in ways both seen and unseen. To serve is to step into your divine power, not as a martyr, not out of guilt, but because you understand that the universe moves through you. When you create something valuable, an idea, an experience, a solution, you become a conduit for abundance, and the field responds. The people you serve become part of the chain of manifestation. They carry your impact forward. They ripple your energy outward. And what returns is not just compensation, it's alignment, it's growth, it's a life infused with purpose. So many ask why manifestation isn't working, yet overlook the simplest question. Who am I serving? Not in theory, but in practice. Who is better because of your energy today? What problem did you solve? What beauty did you offer? When your life becomes the answer to someone else's need, manifestation stops being effort and starts being expression. You begin to live not from survival, but from overflow. Service is not small. It is not humble. It is sacred. It is the secret language of the universe, the one spoken by those who rise above the noise. You are not here to claw your way to success. You are here to create something so valuable, so resonant, that success has no choice but to find you. Stop competing. Start creating. Serve like a god remembering his nature, and watch the world make room for your light. When you begin to serve from the overflow of your devotion, a quiet miracle takes root. You no longer wait for the world to give you permission. You no longer need external proof to justify internal truth. That's when you begin creating in the unseen, birthing a life others can't see, touch, or understand. Not yet, because the vision was never meant for them. It was meant for you, given to you, carried by you. Understand this. Most people only believe in what they can measure. They trust what already exists and reject what's still forming. That's why your vision will confuse them. They'll question it, doubt it, maybe even mock it. But that's not a sign to stop. It's confirmation that you're ahead of them in time. Your future is real. It's just not visible yet. And that's where your strength must live, in the invisible. The ability to hold a vision in the dark is one of the rarest spiritual disciplines. It requires patience, solitude, and unshakable trust. You cannot create a new reality if you keep measuring it by old metrics. You cannot rise if you're still looking around for evidence that it's safe to believe. The ones who manifest the extraordinary are not reckless. They're rooted in a knowing deeper than logic, rooted in something the crowd never took the time to cultivate: inner sight. Let others talk about what's realistic. Let them explain the economy, the odds, the market. You're not bound by their language. You are creating something from within, a life, a purpose, a frequency that will one day become visible to all, but must first be invisible to most. Your vision is sacred, and until it manifests, protect it, nourish it. Let it grow away from noise, in the soil of your own belief. Because one day, when it appears, when the results take form and the impossible becomes your normal, they'll ask how you did it. They'll call you lucky, gifted, chosen. But you'll know, it wasn't luck, it wasn't magic, it was devotion, it was service, it was holding a world in your mind long before it ever reached your hands. That is the art of manifestation, not chasing what exists, but creating what doesn't yet. To create what doesn't yet exist, you must live from a place others rarely visit, the inner world, the space where thought is born, where identity is shaped, where belief becomes blueprint. All true manifestation begins there, not in the noise of action, but in the silence of awareness. You've carried the vision, protected it, served it. Now comes the final act, mastering the realm it came from. Because until the inner is aligned, the outer remains fragmented. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fix the mirror, not realizing the reflection changes when the person standing before it does. They push, strive, manipulate, never understanding that their outer life is just an echo of their inner frequency. Manifestation doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to alignment, and alignment begins with sovereignty over thought. You cannot plant seeds of fear and expect a harvest of peace. You cannot dwell in doubt and expect clarity to rule your days. So guard your mind, sharpen it with study, quiet it with stillness, direct it with vision, speak only what aligns, think only what strengthens. This is not about perfection, it's about consistency. What you dwell on becomes what you walk in. What you imagine becomes what you inhabit. The outer world has no choice but to shape itself around the dominant patterns of your inner reality. This is not metaphor, it is law. And when the mind is mastered, not silenced, not controlled but guided, you become unstoppable. Life no longer pulls you into reaction because your inner world is already steady, already whole. The noise doesn't penetrate. The setbacks don't derail. You begin to move with calm certainty, and the universe, sensing the order within you, begins to mirror it in your surroundings. The outer obeys, not out of submission, but resonance. As within, so without, always. Manifestation only works when you stop thinking like them. Not because you're better, but because you're awake. The moment you release the inherited patterns of the 95%, the fear-based logic, the competition, the passivity, you return to your original power. You begin to remember that your life is not a reaction, it's a creation. And to create, you must think like no one else around you. You must decide when others hesitate, serve when others grasp, see the invisible when others need proof. That is the path of the few, the creators, the conscious. Everything you've been seeking already exists, in potential, in frequency, in seed form. But it cannot reach you through old mental wiring. You cannot plant new desires in soil still tangled with inherited weeds. The mind must be renewed, not once, but daily, devotionally. You must become the thinker, not the echo. You must become the signal, not the static. When that shift takes root, reality bends, not all at once, but steadily, irreversibly. Because reality doesn't respond to the masses. It responds to the rare soul who dares to think beyond them. So let the world keep guessing. Let them keep watching. You're no longer trying to manifest like them. You're manifesting because you no longer think like them. You've chosen clarity over confusion, creation over comparison, alignment over approval. And in doing so, you've returned to the sacred truth that has always lived inside you. You are not here to reflect the world. You are here to shape it, thought by thought, choice by choice. Manifestation is not a wish, it is a becoming. And you are becoming unstoppable.